Hey guys, Baron here, back with another video. Now last time, we got through our 18 typings with the last typing being Dragon type. And I said that we will make a legendary Pokemon ranking at the end of the series. So that is what we're going to do today. But not only are we going to cover the legendary Pokemon, we're going to cover the mythicals and the Ultra Beasts. So that's going to be 82 Pokemon that we're going to go through today. So it's going to be a long video, so there's no point in us postponing it any longer. But if you enjoy, make sure to hit the like button. Your support goes a long way. With that being said, let's get into it. Now at the number 82 spot, we have Phione. And really that's for one reason. It's sort of a cop-out Manaphy, and it's just sort of a copy of the Pokemon. And, you know, I expected it to be an pre-evolution to Manaphy, but when that didn't happen, it was really disappointing, and it's just a really pointless Pokemon in my opinion. So yeah, Phione is number 82. Coming into the number 81 spot, we have Thundurus. Now Thundurus is one of those really ugly mons that I don't think is a very good concept of a mon. I know it's based on the sort of thunder god of Japanese and Asian mythology. That doesn't matter to me. It's still an ugly mon, and its non-genie form is really kind of bad too in my opinion, so really it deserves to be this low. Coming into number 80 spot, we have Landorus. Now just like with Thundurus, I just think this Pokemon is ugly. I just think this Pokemon is kind of pointless. It looks a lot like Thundurus and Tornadus, which I don't like either. They sort of looked like the same mon, which I think it's not a good thing for three-fold legendary trio to have. They should sort of be different in many ways and stand out from each other, but really beside from their non-genie forms, they don't really stand out, which is a disappointment. So Landorus is number 80 on this list. Coming into number 79 spot, we have Tornadus. And really I think the only fact that makes it stand above the other two genies is that it's the only pure flying type in all Pokemon. I really think more mons should be pure flying types, because I sort of think they're stupid that flying type always has to be combined with another typing. So Tornadus does disprove that, but it's still like a pointless and ugly mon in my opinion. So I think it deserves to be this low on the list. Now next to the list we have Cosmoem. Now the problem with Cosmoem is you have a Cosmog in the game, which of course is Nebby, it's very famous for that. And you have its evolutions, Solgaleo and Alola, which of course are the box art legendaries. But then you have Cosmoem sort of in the middle, and it's not really seen except for cutscenes in Sun and Moon, which I really think is a disappointment because it's kind of a moderately cool mon, but it's sort of forgotten and it's ignored all the time, and that's why I put it so low, because it doesn't stand out that much, and it's not that unique of a design really. It's sort of a continuation of Cosmog, and it's not really, it's a long gap between Cosmoem and Alola Solgaleo. So yeah, that's why I think it deserves to be this low on the list. Coming into number 77 spot, we have Regirock, the first Reggie on this list. Now I don't hate the Regirock by any means. I just think it's a pile of rocks really, and it's not that great in battle in my opinion. And I never really connected with it in any form, sort of way. And I, you know, apart from puzzle that you use to unlock the Reggies, doesn't really stand out to me that much. So yeah, Regirock is number 77 on this list. Coming into number 76 spot on this list, we have Magearna. Just like with Regirock, it's a Pokemon that hasn't really stood out to me, and it's because this Pokemon was very poorly treated. It was introduced by the back end of Generation 6, and it wasn't really involved in the Generation 7 games of Mythos at all. And it just sort of stands out like a sore thumb among mythical and legendary Pokemon, which I think is a letdown, because this Pokemon could be cool, but it's not really, because it wasn't handled correctly. So that's why I think it deserves to be this list on the low on the list. Coming into number 76 spot, we have Regigigas, and I have two words to sum up Regigigas: slow start. And that turns this mon that could have been so good and so powerful into a letdown and something that can't be used in battle very correctly and very effectively. And that is, it's such a disappointment, and because of that crime, Regigigas won't make it any higher on this list. Coming into number 74 spot, we have Silvally. Now I think Silvally really goes down so low on this list, only because I think it doesn't really fit as a legendary. It fits more as a common mon. And when I think of legendaries, I think of these rare mons that are hard to get. And Type Null is a gift Pokemon, and that's really not what Legendary should be. So just because of that, and because Sylvala has lower and worse mythos and lore than Type Null does, it comes down so low on this list. Now next on the list we have Type Null. And Type Null is a smaller version of Sylvala, but with a bit cooler legends and a bit cooler mythos behind it, because it's Gladion's partner Pokemon. And that story with him and Type Null is kind of nice, I will admit. So that's the only reason why Type Null goes a bit higher than Sylvala. Coming into number 72 spot, we have Buzzle. And Buzzle is a cool mon, sure, but it's a bit too masculine for me for some reason. And I think it reminds me too much of Heracross. And I know Heracross is a beetle and Buzzle is supposed to be a mosquito, but for some reason, I just think Heracross is a better bug fighting type. And you know, that's why Buzzle makes it so low on this list. Coming to number 71 spot, we have Regirock's twin brother, Regice. Now I know Regice is a bunch of power, you can use it very well competitively. I just think it's compared to the other legendary mons on this list, it doesn't stand out and it's not as cool. And that's a pun on itself because this is ice type, but it's not as badass as other mons on this list. That's really the reason why Regice doesn't make it higher on this list. Coming into the number 70 spot, we have Moltres, and I have one thing to say here. It's a rubber chicken. That's all I need to say. And it's a shame that Ho-Oh is the same typing and has a better connection to Phoenixes. That's all I will say about Moltres, and that's why it makes it to the number 70 spot. Coming into the number 69 spot, we have Mesprit, and that's a very fitting placing considering what it has on his head. But Mesprit is just one of those mons that it looks too much like the other two. I just think it's a less cooler, and it's, you know, it's not as great a competitive because it's mixed, but not in a good way, which I think is a letdown really. So Mesprit is on the number 69 spot on this list. Coming up next, we have Diancie. And Diancie is cool for one reason in particular. It's the only mythical Pokemon to ever have a Mega Evolution, which I think is a cool attribute. But besides that, it doesn't really stand out to me that much, and it wasn't that integral to Generation 6 games, like all the Generation 6 methodologicals really, but I think out of the three, Diancie has the least coolest design, so that's why it's so low on this list. Making it to the 67th spot, we have Virizion. And Virizion is not uncool in any way, it's just that it's less cooler than its brethren with the Sword of Justice, and it hasn't really connected with me as much as other legendary Pokemon. And that's one thing I will say about a lot of Pokemon on this list. A lot of legendaries haven't connected to me in a way, and I just think with Virizion, it hasn't really. So that's why it's on the number 67 spot on this list. Coming up next, we have Melmetal, and I think that is for one reason, really, is that it was introduced so recently that I haven't been able to use it or experience it in any way. But I'm sure when I do, it will grow in ranking, because it's a really cool design concept, and it's a really cool evolution to Meltan, that's what it's called, which I really like. So yeah, it deserves to be on this placing for this list. Coming up next, we have Meltan, and for the same reason really as Melmetal, is that I haven't really been able to use it yet. But in this case, I apparently prefer cuteness over coolness, which is interesting. So yeah, Meltan is on this number on this list. Going to Unova, we have Meloetta as the next mod, and I think just with Buzzwole, it's the opposite with Meloetta. It's too feminine for me, and I know it has two forms, but they haven't really connected with me ever because I wasn't really present when Generation 5 was out, and I haven't really been able to connect with it afterwards, which is a shame. But yeah, Meloetta is on this list and this place for that reason. Coming up next, we have Cosmog, and I will say one thing: Nebby, get in the bag. Coming up next, we have Guzzlord. And Guzzlord looks a lot like Gluttony from Fullmetal the Alchemist, and I think that's one reason why I really like it. It's a Dark and Dragon type, which is a really cool combination, but it's not the kind of mon I would like to use. It's way too bulky for me, and I like to use more speedy and special attacking mons. And you know, it's super weak to Fairy, with it being introduced in Generation 6. So yeah, Guzzlord is on this placing. Next on this list, we have Pheromosa, and I will say one thing on that, is that I love those hype jump kicks. Those hype jump kicks kill. Next on the list, we have my favorite Registeel. And I think that is because it has such a sleek design. It's a steel type, which is great, and it has those spiking stuff of rock moves, which is great for setup. So yeah, Registeel is really cool, a really cool design, and it makes this high on this list for that reason. Next up is Terrakion. Now Terrakion is one of those mons that just emanates pure power and awesomeness, and I really like it for that reason, but I think it's possibly too cartoonish for me, and it looks more like a cartoon than a Pokemon, which is a shame. But yeah, Terrakion is on this list, in this place. Now while Sorora has a really cool design, it looks a bit too much like Lucario and Zoroark for me, which I think is a shame, and it hasn't been really introduced in the Generation 7 games in any way, which I think is why it deserves to be on this place in this list. Coming up next, we have Azelf. Now Azelf is the Pokemon of Willpower, and Willpower is definitely something that speaks to me a lot. It's blue, which is really cool coloring and really beautiful coloring, but it doesn't really stand out to me because it looks too much like it's the rest of its trio, which I think is a shame. Going to Generation 7, we have Tapu Lele. Now Tapu Lele is a good mon, it's a great mon, but I think it's possibly a bit too feminine for me, and it's not as cool as the other Tapus, which I think it really places it on this placing on this list. Now while Latias is cute, it's defensive, and I prefer a special attacking Latios, and that's all I can say about it. Coming up next, we have the mischievous cuteness that is Poipole. Now Poipole is an integral part of Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, which I really like, and it's a cute mon. But I think its evolution is even way cooler, so I think it deserves to be on this placing. Coming up next, we have Keldeo. Now, a lot of people hate Keldeo. I kind of like Keldeo, but it looks a bit too much like My Little Pony. But its water and fighting type is really cool, and I would give it that. Coming up next, we have Naganadel. And just like I said with Poipole, its evolution is cooler. And it looks like a wasp mixed with a dragon, which I really like. Poison and dragon is such a cool typing. But I think it looks a bit too abstract for me, and I like more mons that look more realistic than Naganadel does. So yeah, it's in this placing in this list. Cresselia is way bulky, which is why I hate facing it on Showdown. It's such a cool concept, which I really like. But if you mix those two and balance them out, then it makes it on the 51 spot on this list. Now, Nihilego is a really creepy mon. I love its role in Generation 7 games. And plus, its rock and poison type is unexpected, but it kind of works, even though it's a jellyfish, which makes me kind of like it in a way. The next Tapu on this list is Tapu Bulu, and Tapu Bulu is cool, but I think it looks a bit too much for statue and too little as an organic creature, which it kind of irks me. So that's why Tapu Bulu is in this placing. Coming up next is Stakataka, as a true political statement of our time. But Stakataka is cool, but it's just, compared to other Ultra Beasts, I like some of them more. So that's why Stakataka is on this place in this list. Coming up next, some of you might hate me, it's Kyurem. Now, Kyurem is cool, but I think compared to other mons, its fusion forms are just way too weird for me, and they look too weird for me, which I kind of dislike. So Kyurem is on this place in this list. Coming up next is Volcanion. Volcanion is really cool. Its fire water type is just dope in my opinion. But I think it works way better as a legend than a mythical, and it's not really integral either to the Generation 6 games, which I think is a shame. So yeah, Volcanion is Volcanion. Coming up next, we have Heatran, and Heatran makes it this high on this list for one reason, and that's because I love using it in competitive. With the air balloon and with that lava plume, this one is good. But I mean, it doesn't really have any particular mythos behind it, which I dislike. It feels sort of misplaced. It feels sort of like a sore thumb in Generation 4 games, because it doesn't really connect to the other legends in this region, which I think is a shame. Now, you wouldn't think that a bunch of chords with a Christmas star on the top would be a cool mon, but Circuitry proves that wrong, and that's why he's on this list. Now, like I said, I prefer Special Attacker, and Latios is that. And plus it's being based on a jet plane, it's just really cool. Now, while Genesected is cool, I feel like it's sort of a ripoff of Mewtwo in some ways, but its shiny is just dope. And you know, its with the whole Kabuto thing and the whole theory around that, it's a really cool concept too. Coming in about at the halfway point, we have Zapdos. Now Zapdos is really cool because it's based on the Thunderbird, which is a cool mythos. I just think this mon looks a bit too weird, and with a spiky design, it's just a lot of legendaries look better than Zapdos, I'm sorry. Now, while Victini has a really cool design and it's really great in battle, I just think Victini, compared to the other Piximon, doesn't have as much of a cool design, not as much of a cool mythos, which I think is why Victini makes it on the number 40 spot in this list. Now, coming into the number 40 spot, not only because I miscalculated, but also because it's a cool concept, it's a Pokemon in the Galar region, written in the hull and drawn in the hull, because it looks cool and I think it has potential. So yeah, it serves to be on the number 40 spot on this list. Coming up next is Uxie. Now, while I really like Uxie because it's the knowledge Pokemon, and knowledge is something that matters to me a lot in my life, Uxie looks a lot like the other two Lake Guardians, which is a shame, and I think these should have had more distinct designs. And that is what I mentioned with the other two, so that is why Uxie has this placing on this list. Coming up next, which might be kind of controversial, it is Reshiram. Now, some people might put Reshiram higher up on this list, but I put him on here because he's a Dragon Fire type, but I honestly wanted something more badass and dangerous as a Dragon Fire type. And I feel like I'm just not the kind of player who appreciates a majestic Pokemon over a badass Pokemon, which is why I prefer a Zekrom. So yeah, Reshiram is here. Coming up next is Celebi. Now, while I really like Celebi, and this is where we're getting into the parts of the list where I really like the Pokemon, Celebi has less of a unique and cool lore behind it. It's sort of an onion fairy, really, that's all it is. Which is kind of a shame, and that's what puts it on this part of the list. Coming up next, we have Manaphy. Now, Manaphy is really cool, and it's really a powerful Pokemon too. If you ever known Tailglow, then you know this thing is a badass and it's really powerful. But I think just with Celebi, it has got a lack of lore, which I really think is a shame. So that's why Manaphy is on this place. Next at the 34th spot, we have Raikou. Now, Raikou is really cool, and it's one of those monsters that has a really cool concept behind it, being based on a saber-toothed tiger and sort of a Raiju from Japanese mythology. But I think in terms of design, it hasn't really connected with me as much as other legendary Pokemon, so that's why it's on this place in this list. Coming up at the number 33 spot, we have Lunala. Now, Lunala is really cool and it's really majestic, and it's a majestic design that I really appreciate. But I think it really has gotten it hasn't stood out to me in my mind as much as it did when it came out, which I think is a shame. So that's why it's here. Next up, we have Shaymin. Now, Shaymin is just cute and adorable. I really like that. But I think compared to other legendaries, it's just that it doesn't stack up as good as other mons. So that's why it's here. Now, we haven't gotten a proper dolphin Pokemon yet, but I think Tapu Fini is the closest to a dolphin Pokemon we have so far. And that's really the primary reason why it stands out to me as the number 31 spot. And also, it's really bulky, and I love bulky mons. Speaking of dolphin Pokemon, or somewhat similar, we have Kyogre at the 30th spot. Now, Kyogre is badass, we all know this, but I think I haven't really experienced Kyogre as much as other players, which I think is why it doesn't stand out as much as other legendary Pokemon in my opinion. Coming up next is the Iron Head Lord himself, Jirachi. Now, I love Jirachi, and he's so cool. He's a wish-making Pokemon. I mean, that's really awesome. But like with Shaymin and Celebi, I think it hasn't got that cool of a lore to stand out, but it's a bit cuter in my opinion than those two, which makes it stand above them a little bit. Now, Blacephalon is Mr. Pennywise, it himself. What else can I say? He's really badass. And can you see how that health falls off when he attacks? That's awesome in my opinion. Now, coming up next is something a lot of people would call a Down syndrome dragon, no offense. But I would really say Palkia is really cool, and I love that water dragon type. It's just so powerful. But I think compared to other legendaries, it's not as cool in my opinion, so that's why it doesn't really stand out as much as others. Next up is Mr. Rooster himself, Tapu Koko. And if you ever played through competitive, you know that Tapu Koko is a badass. But that's not why I like it primarily. It's just got such a cool part as a guardian in the Sun and Moon games, which really makes it stand out to me. So that's why Tapu Koko is this high on the list. Now, next up is the leader of the Source of Justice, Cobalion, and you can really tell that he's a leader. He's so majestic and he looks so powerful, and with that steel and fighting type, I just love that combination. So that's why Cobalion is high on this list. Coming up at the number 24 spot, we have Articuno. Now, Articuno is my favorite legendary bird, and it's just because of the reason that Cobalion is my favorite source of justice. It's so majestic, and it looks legendary, which I really enjoy. It's not too powerful with Ice and Flying type, but it just got such a nostalgia value that it definitely makes it in the top 30. Coming up next is Celesteela. Now, a lot of people don't like Celesteela, but I like Celesteela because it's got such a cool connection to Japanese technology in the spaceship that they send up that is called Kaguya, and also that it's based on the whole legend itself, which I think is really cool, and it really stands out as an original mon that way. So that's why I really like Celesteela. Coming up next is Deoxys. Now, it's all its forms and all its potential, and like whole Delta episode in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. There's no reason you can't love Deoxys. Coming up next is Marshadow. Now, I really like Marshadow because it's based on a Shadow Boxer, which is such a cool concept. And I think it hasn't really been introduced in the Generation 7 games properly, but I think because of this, it really stands above the other mythologicals in Generation 7. Making it into number 20 now, we have Xerneas. Now, Xerneas is so majestic and so powerful looking, and it looks like a legendary. And with the whole concept that can give life, that just is such an amazing concept to me, and that's why I really like Xerneas. Coming up next, we have Solgaleo. Now, I really like Solgaleo because it has just such a close connection to alchemy, with being the lion that's devouring the sun. And I think because of that, the steel typing makes sense, which I don't think fire type makes as much sense because it's based on alchemy. But anyway, Solgaleo is such a powerful and majestic mon, that's why I really like it. At the number 18 spot, we have Suicune. I think Suicune, better than most mons, really personifies a legend because it is a legend and it's so deep in lore in the Johto games, and how it has its own game Crystal, how the whole thing what you've seen really makes it stand out, and it's such a cool mon. I love it that it's a water type and it's a wolf. I mean, it's just amazing. Coming up next is God himself, Arceus. Now, a lot of people would say that he's based on a llama which is stuck in a fence, but I would say he's a badass and powerful llama that's stuck in a fence, and that's awesome. Coming up next is OG legendary Mewtwo. Now, everyone loves Mewtwo. I love Mewtwo because of the movie, I love Mewtwo because of its part in the games, I love Mewtwo because of its Mega Evolution. It's just such a cool and nostalgic mon, and that's why you gotta love Mewtwo. Now, Darkrai is the ultimate edgy mon, and I love it for that reason. It's such a cool concept, and like how it's based on a nightmare, and the nightmare sucking ability is just so cool. And I love naming it Freddy after Freddy Krueger, and that's all I can say about Darkrai really. I love it. Coming up next, we have Zekrom. Now, Zekrom is a black dragon. It's an electric and dragon type with a fusion engine at its tail. How can you tell me that's not so badass? I just want to giggle because it's so awesome. That's why I love Zekrom. What else can I say? Coming up next, we have Zygarde. Now, I really enjoy Zygarde, with its 10% form being so speedy, but its 50% form being like really awesome and a good attacker, and its 100% form being so powerful, and it's a mecha and it's so cool. And just Zygarde is, it really got improved from Generation 6 onwards, which I really enjoy and really like and appreciate. So that's why Zygarde is on this place. Coming up next is Necrozma. Now, I didn't like Necrozma that much in Sun and Moon, but when it got its like ultimate form and its Ultra Beast powered form, and it's such a powerful villain in the end of the games of Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, it's just so awesome. I love it for that reason. At the number 11 spot, we have Lugia. Now, Lugia is really cool. It just almost clinched at the number 10 spot. And that's because of like the movie and like how it is based on the Sea Guardian, and it's so cool, and I love it for that reason. And just everyone loves Lugia. What can I say? At the number 10 spot, we have Rayquaza, the Guardian of the Skies. Now, ever since I played through Emerald as a 7-year-old, I tried to catch this thing for like 2 hours until I caught it with the timing ball. I love this thing, and I love how it's based on Chinese Dragon. I love how powerful it is. I love its mega. I just love a lot of things about Rayquaza. He's such a badass, and he's really personifies what a legendary should be. So that's why I love Rayquaza, and he's number 10 on this list. Now, coming up at the number 9 spot, which might be kind of unexpected for some of you, we have Kartana. And Kartana is just so cool for some reason. It really speaks to me for some reason. I think it is because like how small it is, and it's based on origami, but it has got such a good speed and attack stat. If you know me, You know I love a speedy attacker, and that's exactly what Cortana is. It's a glass cannon that shouldn't be messed with, and I really like its playstyle, so that's why it's number 9 on this list. Coming up at the number 8 spot, we have Dialga, the Master of Time, next to the Doctor, of course. But Dialga is so cool, and it's just got such a... It's both majestic and it's badass. And if you can combine those two as well as you do with Dialga, no wonder it's a awesome Pokemon. And that's why I really enjoy Dialga, and it's number 8 on this list. Coming up next is Yveltal, and I mentioned how edgy Darkrai is. This Pokemon is a death Pokemon. When this Pokemon is born, everything dies. Like, can you think of anything more awesome and badass and edgy than that? No, I didn't think so. That's why I love Yveltal, and he's such a cool mon. It's such a cool design, and just I found gasm over this mon every single day because it's so cool. Coming up next, we have Hoopa. Now, Hoopa might be unexpected to some of you people too, just like Cortana, but I just love the Unbound form. When I set my eyes on this thing, it was just like, yes, this is how you do a Genie Pokemon. Not Landers, not Tornadoes, not Thunders. This is how you do a Genie Pokemon. And it's such a dangerously awesome design. It's just, it's so scary. And then you got Hoopa Bound form, which is just adorable. It's so mischievous, and I really enjoy that too. So I think it's an awesome combination of the two, and I really like Hoopa. Coming up next, we have Groudon at the number 5 spot. And Groudon was the first legendary mon I ever encountered. So you can imagine as a 5-year-old going up to the Cave of Origins and seeing this fucking dinosaur coming up to you and battling it. It was so powerful, and it's such an impression on me, and it still sticks to this day. I really love Groudon. It was so hard putting him on the number 5 spot because I want to put him higher. I love Groudon, and especially with its primal form. My god! It's so powerful and so badass, and that's why I love Groudon so much. Coming up at the number 4 spot, we have Entei, and I had to, because Entei is like the ultimate guardian dog and ultimate lion. Is so like reliable, loyal. He looks like a loyal friend, but it also looks like something that would destroy you. It's like a more powerful version of Arcanine, and I love that. And like, it's got such a cool design with the mask and all that, and he better than anything proves what a legendary Pokemon should be. How he designed, look at Entei, and then that's a crash course of how you define and how you design a legendary Pokemon, because he's just awesome. So I love Entei. Cracking the bronze medal, we have Giratina, and Giratina being the Satan of the Pokemon universe, and it's so scary, and it's so badass, and it's powerful. It's defensive, and you know I love defensive mons as much as I love speedy attacking mons, and it's just so good, and it's got such a good part to play in Pokemon Platinum. And when I played for Pokemon Platinum, that's when I really got to love this Pokemon, because it's so cool, and like it's the coolest Pokemon there is, which just makes it this high on this list. It's the number 3 spot of my favorite legendaries, and possibly even my top 15 Pokemon of all time. Attaining the silver medal on this list, we have Mew. Now, you know Mew is awesome, he's cute, he's adorable, he's mischievous, he's cuddly, and you know all those things from watching the first Pokemon movie. But I love Mew primarily because of the role and the lore it has in the Pokemon games. It's such a rare mythical that you really feel like it's so rare and so special to attain, which I really enjoy, and it personifies that of a mythical Pokemon better than any Pokemon in the franchise. And combine that with all the awesomeness and cuteness, like, you can't not love Mew, and I adore Mew, so that's why it's on number 2. Taking a gold medal at the number 1 spot, which is very fitting considering it's the mascot of Pokemon Gold, we have Ho-Oh. Now, Ho-Oh has it all. It is majestic, it is badass, it is powerful, it has a good mythos being based on a phoenix, and compared to a certain rubber chicken, it actually does that job much better. And it's just really cool, and I love how it's such a good Pokemon, both comparative wise and in game. Like, it's such a good attacker, and like, you know, I love that like having attacker is just a great asset to your team, and with that being Ho being so powerful, that's certainly not a bad thing. And you know, it's just how it's connected to Japanese culture too, and how it fits into the Johto region. It's just really, really awesome in my opinion. And I love Ho-Oh for that reason. And I definitely think that it deserves to be at the #1 spot of the legendary Pokemon. So guys, that about does it for our top 82 legendary Pokemon and mythical Pokemon and Ultra Beasts. And as you see, I'm wearing a different shirt right now, so you can tell that a lot of work came into this video. So I really hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, hit the like button. Your support goes a long way. And for next week, we're gonna move on into the 2 final videos of this series, starting with my top 10 favorite Pokemon. So I really hope you guys are excited for that, because I sure am. I am so excited about sharing those 10 very, very special beasts with you. So guys, stick around for that. With that being said, I'm gonna get the hash out of here. Thank you guys for checking out the video. Before, until, and after seeing you next time though, stay awesome.